不是，你们不是都说好大家一起没钱换手机的吗？
Didn't we all agree to not spend money on new phones? Why has everything been snatched up so quickly? The 17 Pro Max is sold out, the 17 is sold out, and even the 17 Pro is gone. The official site is the same. I didn't manage to get one, so I have to wait for next month's stock. Turns out, it's just that I don't have the money. As expected, the iPhone 17 is really selling like hotcakes this year. The value for money is amazing. On September 12th, Apple officially kicked off pre-sales for its latest iPhone 17 series. Leading up to the launch, many prominent figures in China were quick to dismiss the device, predicting that the iPhone 17 would flop and struggle with poor sales. However, the reality was quite different. As soon as pre-sales opened, the iPhone 17 sold out almost immediately, both online and in stores, defying expectations and emerging as a surprising success in this year's smartphone market. Meanwhile, Chinese domestic smartphone makers, who had been vocal in their criticism of Apple, now find themselves facing a sharp reversal of fortunes.
实在是太夸张了，给大家看一下。
It's really ridiculous. Let me show you how many people are in line at the Apple store when it opened. The staff over here have already told everyone that the queue has reached its peak, and they're not letting anyone else join. And yet, some people are still lining up. Follow my camera and you'll see crowds everywhere. We keep walking forward, and there are still people in line. And this isn't even at the entrance yet. Moving forward, there's still a sea of people. Look at this crowd. There are just too many people. But wait, it's not over yet. Keep going and you'll see even more lines. It's like everyone in Shenzhen has come to queue. This is the opening of an Apple store. Look at how many people there are. Videos shared by many social media users in China show surprising scenes at Apple's offline stores. Flagship stores in major cities were crowded shortly after the pre-sale began, with long queues of customers both inside trying out the devices and waiting to pick up their orders. Some stores were so packed that it was hard to move, with employees working non-stop. Customers were excitedly taking photos with their new phones and sharing them, creating an atmosphere that felt more like a small festival than a typical shopping experience. Online pre-sales also exceeded expectations. One user commented,
我的天啊，兄弟们，17
"Oh my heavens, guys. The 17 Pro Max is completely sold out. The website crashed. I couldn't even get through." By the time I did, there was only a 39-day shipping option left. The 17 Pro Max 2TB costs a whopping 17,999 yuan. I really wanted to compete with you rich folks. How can you guys buy this like it's a toy? Forget it. I'll just wait for the unlocked phone at the end of the month. Probably can get it for a bit over 9,000, saving me 8,000 yuan. An unlocked phone seems like a good deal. Even domestic Apple phones aren't selling well. They got BOE screens anyway. The unlocked phone mentioned by the user refers to a process where a phone with a network lock, for example, from countries like the US or Japan, is unlocked using a chip card, allowing it to be used with Chinese domestic SIM cards. The term Chinese iPhone refers to iPhones sold in mainland China. BOE screens refers to one of China's largest display panel manufacturers, BOE Technology. In recent years, BOE has entered Apple's supply chain and provides OLED screens for some iPhone models. Some consumers believe that BOE screens do not perform as well as high-end OLED screens from Samsung or LG in terms of color, brightness, and lifespan. As a result, they joke that Apple, in an effort to cut costs, has equipped Chinese models with BOE screens, feeling that they're paying a high price without getting the best quality. In other words, most consumers do not trust the quality of domestic components. Other users stated that the sales figures for the iPhone 17 reached an astonishing level.
这有点恐怖啊 ！iPhone 17
This is kind of scary, right? The iPhone 17 pre-sale has shattered all records. The total sales within a minute exceeded last year's entire day's sales. The lowest model is selling the most. Looks like people think the 256GB standard version is the best buy. And with 24 months interest-free financing, it's a huge temptation for those who don't have much money but want to try out the iPhone 17. At 8 p.m. on September 12th, the iPhone 17 series officially began pre-sales in China, Within just a few minutes, posts such as Apple website down and iPhone 17 sold out quickly trended on Weibo. According to multiple media reports, as soon as sales began, the Apple website became inaccessible. On the official Apple Store channels, whether through the app or website, users were stuck on the welcome page, and it took about 4 minutes before they could access the purchase page. 20 minutes into the pre-sale, the Apple website displayed that the shipping time for the iPhone 17 Pro series had been pushed back to October 14th to 21st. Data from JD.com showed that the standard version had the most reservations, with over 3.43 million pre-orders, followed by the Pro Max with over 2.3 million, and the Pro with 1.8 million pre-orders. Notably, Apple's website has since updated the status of the iPhone Air to sales information to be updated, with a red notice saying all models will be released after approval. It wasn't just the official website. Several other Chinese e-commerce platforms also experienced issues with lag and slow loading. JD.com displayed a message saying, "Too many visitors, please wait 15 seconds," and users had to queue to enter. Tmall's flagship store had a delayed opening. Amid the consumer rush for the first release, all 3 models sold out in mere minutes across various platforms. On JD.com, all models were shown as out of stock within a minute. On Tmall, the iPhone 17 and 17 Pro Max sold out within 2 minutes, leaving only a few iPhone 17 Pro models. The official store restocked multiple times, but the shipping time was no longer listed as by 24 o'clock on September 19th. As a result, Apple's stock price surged on the evening of September 12th, closing with an increase of nearly 1.8%, reaching $234.2 per share, with a total market value of $3.5 trillion. On social media, consumer feedback echoed with the excitement of this explosive sales event. Some commented, "It's harder to get this year than last. Shipping now delayed until October. I couldn't get it at all. It looked ugly before launch, but sold out in seconds after launch." Others joked, "Just like Tesla, online sales never win, but offline sales never lose." Some even posted self-deprecating videos saying,
我一直以为今年的经济不太行。
"I always thought the economy was bad this year, but this morning I saw that 370,000 people had already pre-ordered a 13,000 yuan phone. Then I realized it's not the economy that's bad, it's just me." Interestingly, as iPhone sales soared, its manufacturer Foxconn also saw an unprecedented surge in activity. Orders increased sharply, and production lines were almost running around the clock. Many people joked that Foxconn's factories had switched to accelerated mode, with workers tightening screws so fast it seemed like they were about to overheat. Some described how iPhones were flying off the production line, produced through workers' sweat and speed. There were also videos showing Foxconn's trucks working overtime to deliver phones to the port. Reports indicate that months before Apple's product launch, Foxconn, as a core part of the Apple supply chain, had already entered a 2-shift production mode. Foxconn's Zhengzhou plant, the largest in China, spans 5.6 million square meters and is reported as Apple's largest assembly base globally. Starting in August, the factory began large-scale hiring and even offered up to 9,800 RMB in rehire bonuses to bring back former employees. At the same time, Foxconn teamed up with several recruitment agencies to hire temporary workers in large numbers. With a major labor shortage, this year's workers were even allowed to skip the usual medical exams. In the past, people with conditions like high blood pressure couldn't work on the production lines. But this time, those requirements were waived, highlighting just how urgent the factory's need for workers has become. By September, the Zhengzhou Airport factory, a key assembly site for the iPhone 17 series, was seeing job seekers lined up at the gates every day, some even carrying bedding. At its peak, up to 10,000 people a day were arriving to apply for jobs. Many were attracted by the rehire bonuses, which are only paid after working for 3 months. After 3 months, even the most average workers could earn over 20,000 RMB, including their wages. Currently, the factory operates with about 200,000 workers in 2 shifts, running at nearly full capacity. Workers say it feels like getting to work as soon as you open your eyes. Monday to Saturday, the standard shift is 8 hours, with an additional 2 hours of overtime almost every day. As of now, JD.com reports over 4.3 million pre-orders for the iPhone 17 series across all models. Adding in pre-orders from platforms like Taobao, Apple's website, and Pinduoduo, the total number may far exceed this. Many believe that such sales figures are hard for domestic smartphones to match. Domestic brands are well aware of the gap, which is why they often turn product launches into business battles, using dramatic language and gimmicks to create a spectacle. For example, one video seemed less like a product launch and more like a competition of rhetoric. If you're using an iPhone today, I suggest you don't take it out. Seriously, I'm sorry, but if you're using an iPhone today, don't tell me you like it because of its design or its OS. That's nonsense. The only reason you bought an iPhone today is because you're poor. You can't afford a Huawei. Agree? Some believe that every time a new Apple phone is released, certain so-called patriotic influencers and fans in China often raise doubts. From the Indian photo incident to battery explosions and spying phones, there seems to be a wave of skepticism every year. However, the reality is that Apple's sales figures continue to prove these voices wrong, backed by data, user experience, and quality. Every day people criticize us for not being patriotic, boasting about how great the iPhone is. But when the iPhone 17 series just came out, it was a total rush. The first batch resale crashed Apple's website. We couldn't even get through. Isn't our domestic phone good? Don't we lead in tech? The pixel count is in the billions. They could even be used as telescopes. I love my country, but I still choose Apple because I do social media work and need to make videos. I've tested a lot of phones, and unfortunately, Apple has the best video quality. It's a fact. What's even more eye-catching is the iPhone 17 series introducing a 120Hz high refresh screen, which has become a nightmare for Chinese domestic phone manufacturers. One user said,
跟大家说个劲爆的啊。
Here's some shocking news. Apple really killed it this time. The Apple iPhone 17 series all come with a 120Hz display. This move has Android manufacturers shaking in their boots. By putting a high refresh display in the base model, Apple essentially wiped out Android's most celebrated feature. What's even more critical is that not only is the iPhone 17's configuration top-notch, the price is more affordable this year. Especially in some areas, with national subsidy policies, you can get a brand new iPhone 17 for just 4,000 to 5,000 yuan through third-party channels a month after its release. What's your choice now? Buy the new iPhone or keep debating Android? No need to say, Android manufacturers must be feeling pretty down now. On the other hand, some critics say the design changes on the iPhone are minimal, calling it squeezing the toothpaste out in Chinese. But domestic brands, with their flashy new designs every year, keep raising prices, and yet few people can remember them. There's also a view that some domestic manufacturers, even before their new phones are released, rely on online campaigns and celebrity promotions to create divisive topics, even playing out sorrowful dramas to boost sales, only to fade from the market soon after. Consumers will ultimately return to evaluating the product itself, looking at quality, after-sales service, and resale value, not gimmicks. It's also worth noting that during the iPhone 17's sales surge, even Xiaomi's group partner and president of the mobile division, Liu Weibing, got involved. Liu Weibing posted on social media, saying he was planning to buy an iPhone 17 for testing, and even asked followers to recommend models. He commented that this was the year of the biggest changes for the iPhone, with the standard model having strong specs, almost like squeezing the toothpaste out. The Air model was impressively thin, possibly reviving the ultra-thin phone market. As for the Pro series, he found the design recognizable but with some controversy. Liu Weibing's rare direct involvement underscores how the explosive sales of Apple's new model have made domestic brands feel a real sense of crisis. In addition, many users have pointed out several advantages of Apple's products. First, Apple's product quality has proven to stand the test of time. iPhones typically perform smoothly for years, without the lag or performance issues that often plague other devices. In contrast, domestic brands like Huawei and Xiaomi, while feature-rich and quick to update, often face criticism for being fragile. After just a year or two, these phones tend to slow down, overheat, or experience hardware failures. Second, when it comes to security and privacy, Apple's overall framework is more robust. With features like secure enclave encryption, a unified system update mechanism, and a closed app ecosystem, iPhones are harder to breach than most Android phones. For average users, hacking into an iPhone to steal data is much more difficult compared to Chinese phones. And when it comes to government access to data, domestic manufacturers often lack independence, and under pressure from the Chinese government, few companies can resist. As a result, user data is far more vulnerable to being accessed and exploited. For those who rely heavily on their phones to store and manage personal information, this poses a serious risk. Apple's pricing strategy and product upgrade logic are also key advantages. The iPhone 17 standard model not only offers improved hardware, but also follows a more for the same price approach. Larger storage, longer battery life, and higher refresh rates on the screen, all at a lower price compared to the previous generation, thanks to subsidies. This is undoubtedly a game changer. Most importantly, some users believe that compared to domestic phones, Apple's products have the biggest advantage in terms of resale value.
为什么现在宁愿买苹果手机而不愿意买安？
Why are more and more people willing to buy iPhones instead of Android? First, let's talk about the price. For Android, you can spend 6,000 to 7,000 yuan on a phone, and within a few months of its release, the value drops dramatically, maybe only worth 1,000 to 2,000 yuan if you sell it secondhand. But with Apple, even if you buy a 6,000 yuan phone, it still retains its value after a year or two. You can sell it for 4,000 yuan. Way better than Android's depreciation. And the design, Apple's minimalist aesthetic is the clear winner. A clean logo on the back with high recognition. Meanwhile, many Android phones look messy with all sorts of camera specs plastered on the back like an advertisement. Plus, when it comes to display quality, sound, pixels, and overall user experience, Apple is more balanced. So why do people love Apple? Simple. It's durable, good-looking, holds its value, and has a stable experience. Buying an iPhone is more than just buying a phone, it's buying peace of mind. However, some users believe that what truly resonates with them is Apple's user feedback system. Simply put, even when users encounter dissatisfaction during use, they can freely provide feedback or even openly criticize. But with domestic phones, it's risky to complain. One misstep and you could get banned from social platforms.
不是，华为这个牌子是咋的了？
What's going on with Huawei? Why can't I talk about it? My goodness, I posted a rant video yesterday and now I can't find it anymore. I don't know if it got taken down by some extreme fans who reported it. What on earth did I say? I just objectively analyzed the current situation with domestic phone inventories, with no intention of bad-mouthing anyone. How can that be taken down? Who are these extreme fans? In response to this situation, a user sarcastically said,
你提到了 iPhone 的各种问题，是因为
You're bringing up all the issues with the iPhone because Apple won't silence you. On the other hand, you don't see any problems with Chinese domestic phones because they'll just get taken down if you mention anything. Think about it. A top global brand can have its issues aired on Chinese social media, but you hardly ever see any issues with domestic phones. There's definitely something wrong with that.